work on this scheme is ongoing. So indeed, this is a new component of the existing voluntary return scheme, whereby 2,000 euros per person would be offered as an additional incentive for people to conduct a voluntary return. Now, the additional work that is necessary on this project is due to the fact that with the coronavirus crisis, we have a new procedure that needs to be put in place, and in particular, for example, new accommodation facilities on the mainland would have to be designated for prospective candidates. So work on this is ongoing very intensively. Recently, for example, the Commission has organized a series of audio conferences with the participation of the Greek authorities, of Frontex and IOM, who are the key partners in the implementation of this scheme. The idea of the scheme is to open it to people who have arrived before the 1st of January 2020. So in any case, the eligibility criteria are not, there's no intention to change the eligibility criteria. And we are working on this as a matter of urgency.
Okay, thank you, Adalbert. Since you have been asked a question, let me see. Please only keep your hand raised if you have a question for Adalbert. Thank you. This is starting to work. Oliver Grimm, I see you have your hand raised. If it's on this?
Yes.
Go ahead, Oliver.
Yes. Hi. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
You hear me? Super. Wonderful. Yeah. First of all, my question is, what's the status quo concerning Greece's complete stop of asylum requests that started after the Turkish situation broke off, and then the Greeks said for 30 days you can't ask for asylum on Greek borders at all. So, did the Greeks continue with that, or is it possible now actually to walk up to, I don't know, to a Greek border guard and ask for asylum? And then related to that, why has the Commission in the meantime made up its mind whether it was in line with the acquis and in general with EU law and international humanitarian law and so forth for the Greek government to introduce this measure not to allow asylum applications for 30 days? Thank you.
Adalbert.
Yes, thanks, Oliver. So this was what you're referring to was a temporary legal measure that the Greek authorities introduced for a period of 30 days. And this expired in early April, and it was not extended. So right now, this measure is no longer enforced. This was a measure that was about the temporary suspension of the registration of possibility to lodge asylum applications, and it is indeed no longer applied. And in fact, as you will be aware, the coronavirus crisis happened in the meantime, and the Commission also issued guidelines addressing the migration management and asylum issues in this context last week. So you will also be able to see in those guidelines what measures exactly or what flexibilities in the application of European rules we can refer to help member states manage this particular situation. And to our understanding, the procedures, asylum procedures in Greece right now are functioning as well as they can in the current circumstances.
Can I ask a follow-up?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a follow-up. You didn't answer my question whether the Commission thinks that what the Greeks did during these days was okay or not. And I ask this because in my request for access to documents, it was actually rejected last Thursday by the legal service. The legal service said that actually on the 4th of March, the legal service prepared a preliminary legal analysis of the situation in Greece for, I quote, a member of the cabinet of President von der Leyen. And remember, I think 4 or 5 days later, President Erdogan came to Brussels. We had that meeting with Michel and von der Leyen. So this was in preparation for that meeting. My question is, why, during all these days, when we kept asking you if the Commission has already looked into this matter, the Commission, you folks, kept telling us, well, this is an ongoing process, we're still looking into it and so forth, when actually, on the 4th of March, you had already gotten as much an idea as you can have to actually write, a written legal analysis of this thing. You could have simply said, well, we have analyzed it, but it's really, really touchy and we can't publish it. Why did you not, communicate openly and, to be honest, a bit more honestly about these things? Thank you.
Adalbert, you want to answer something?
Sure. Sure, absolutely. So first of all, regarding the Greek measure, what I can also add is that according to our information, the persons who have arrived in Greece during the period in which this measure was in force have now received the possibility to apply for asylum. So from the perspective of indeed the access to asylum procedure, there doesn't seem to be an issue there. Now, as regards our possibility to communicate about the our specific legal opinion about a measure, what I can say is that it is not because there is an existing paper somewhere as part of the preparatory reflection process of the Commission that necessarily there is a specific opinion of the college about this issue that we can communicate. So it is completely normal that we produce papers and internal documents as part of our reflection. However, our final position is what the members of the college express and what we are able also to say here from the podium or from the very large screen behind Eric.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there other questions for Adalbert? Virginie, I know that your question is a different one, so je reviendrai vers toi après. Garde ta main levée. Alain, je pense que ta question n'est pas sur ce sujet non plus. Monica, I see you have your hand raised. Is it for Adalbert?
I guess so. It would have been for Christian, but he is not here.
Oh, he is here. He is here.
Oh.
So
I haven't. I'm so sorry. Then I haven't seen him on the list. It's about rule of law, so I guess I will hold on.
Okay, just to let you know, you only see on the list those of our spokes who are teleworking. The others, we work in shifts, so I have half of my colleagues who are here in the press room, and the other half are working from home. So you can only see those, but you can always assume that all of us are here unless somebody is ill or on holiday. Okay, thank you very much. Athanasios, was it a question for Adalbert on home affairs issues?
Yes, that's right. It's
Go ahead.
for Adalbert. And it's about the containers. I know it is a very generous offer from Austria, the 181 containers, but do we have, let's say, an operational estimate on the ground on how much is needed and how much more is needed in order to sustain the situation and feel safe about COVID-19 spread within the camps? Is that going to be enough, or do we need something more? Did anyone ever make a detailed, let's say, inquiry on what's needed on the ground? Thanks.
Yes, this is a very operational question. I have to say I do not have necessarily a full breakdown of all the needs on the ground to give you. There is very intensive ongoing work between the Greek authorities, the Commission services, and other partners on the ground to evaluate those needs in detail and to then address them as rapidly as possible. So I am sure that that we have that there exists between the Greek authorities and us a detailed estimate of everything that is needed. So if that's of interest to you, I will look into what of that we could possibly disclose, or alternatively, I think the Greek authorities would probably be the best placed to do so. Now, in terms of the magnitude of the needs, as you know, this is of course very considerable. And while we very much welcome the offer by the Austrian authorities, we are also working very intensively on mobilizing all the support that's needed. And in this context, maybe one thing I can recall is the fact that we promised to mobilize an extra 700 million euro to assist Greece in the current extraordinary situation, of which 350 million euro were immediately available as of last month, and 350 million required at draft amending budget, which has now also been approved. So there is also very considerable additional financial support available from EU budget, thanks to very quick action by EU institutions on that.
Okay, thank you, Adalbert. Time is flying, and I still have many requests for the floor from different colleagues.